Hi, it's Lau again. Okay, I want to talk to you about something very, very practical that helps people to understand a little bit about how Taoists put things together in terms of ritual and all. So a lot of people, they go through this debate in the West, is Taoism a philosophy, is Taoism a religion? In China, that doesn't make any sense. But I want to help you use something from Taoism, but let's make it practical, because if it's not practical, you're not going to do it. If you're not going to do it, then it's useless. It doesn't make any sense. So let's talk about rituals. There's a saying, you're only as successful as your rituals, your habits. Well, how do we create a habit? How do habits form? When people say, oh, I don't have any time to do new things, I'm too busy and all, you have more time in your day, you just don't realize. And I'm going to help you to understand today how habits are formed, the nature of them, how we can use them, and how we can put things into our day without taking more time into what we're already doing. The trick here is when we make the life we want, it's not a matter of going and jet skiing in New Zealand. We all would love to do that, but nobody's going to do that every day. It's not practical. It's got to be practical. What do you do every day? We need to use what you do every day, because with a 2mm shift, a very small shift, we can take what you do and turn it into what you dream of always doing, but you haven't. So if you keep doing what you've always done, you'll get what you've always got. If you do what you've never done, you'll get what you've never had. So let's work on this, okay? Rituals, habits, those things in our lives have steps. The first step is the cue, the trigger. This is what sets off the habit. Cigarettes. You have a cigarette habit, you get the urge, the stress, the trigger, can be myriad, and then you go through the ritual. You get the pack, pull the cigarette out, put it back, put it there, light it, draw, ritual. And then from the ritual you get your result or your reward, depending, right? The nicotine in cigarettes give us dopamine, so we become addicted to it because it's our dope, our dopamine, and all kinds of things that happen because of it. But let's look at another one, urination. You get the feeling, you go to the bathroom, you pull your pants down or you stand up, depending, and you pee, and you relieve yourself, and God knows what you're doing that time, thinking about everything else. And then the result, the reward is I have an empty bladder, I feel better, but also we've gotten rid of toxins, we've gotten rid of all sorts of things in our body, we've regulated our blood pressure, etc. Okay? So these are habits. We have habits every day. Most of our habits are unconscious. And if you say to me, you know, the world out there isn't fair, and it's just, no. You are nothing more than a result of your habits. You are as successful as your rituals. But let's look at how we can do things to change our habits. So, the first thing we have to do before we decide our ritual is we have to have a cue for that ritual. Let's look at cues in our life, in our daily, everyday life. We have the cue of hunger, right? When you feel hungry, then there's a ritual. Go get your candy bar, get your soda pop because you went too far and you need the instant hit of sugar because you didn't eat often enough. Most people's problem is they don't eat often enough and they don't eat nutrient-dense food. Hunger is a cue, and it puts you into a ritual. And if you go grab the bag of chips or go grab the bag of M&Ms, well, that's your ritual. The reward is I feel great and then I feel like shit. And then guess what happens? You go back to another cue soon because now the sugars wore off, diabetes later. That's all because of a ritual. So hunger is a cue. Thirst is a cue, though most people miss thirst. They don't actually know when they're thirsty. By the time you feel thirst, you've actually probably gone too far. You're not in tune enough. You're not present enough in your day. Thirst. The need to defecate. I know this sounds gross, but come on, we're all adults, we're all human, and we all do it. So stop acting like it's something that we don't do. As unpleasant as it may seem, or pleasant for some of you, as it may seem, it's still a cue. Did you know that great many people feel like they're hungry, but their body's actually trying to tell them they need to defecate? In fact, they're so out of touch with their own biological functions, they can't tell the difference between those two. But defecation is a cue. As we said before, urination. Boredom is a cue. It's usually telling you go move your body. You haven't moved enough. Most people go distract themselves with a movie or video games or something like that, but really they should be moving their body. Tired or sleepy, that's a cue. All of these things are just everyday cues in our life. Okay? When you have these cues, do you use them? People say, yeah, I get hungry, I go eat, I use the cue. No, that is not the only use of that cue. Each of these can be linked to rituals that without changing natural things in your life, so we can be effortless, so we can be wu-wei, so we can be natural about our life. We can, instead of making this contrived things where I got to put on my gold lame and red French whore robes and I have to have my incense and those work. You can do that. If you live in a temple or you're a monastic or you have a home altar and you've built that in, hey man, perfect. But most people, they're not doing it. And you know why they're not doing it? It's contrived. It's artifice. It's your way. It doesn't make sense. But if you use natural things, if you start where you are, right? Anne Frank said in her journal, 14-year-old girl, how beautiful it is that we don't have to wait one more day to start improving our world. 14-year-old girl living in the walls knew that. You do too now. You take these cues. I'm going to give you another one. Pain. Pain is a cue. I had a woman come to me and she had hip deformity because of a fall. And she says, the doctor says that this is about as good as it's going to get. The pain spikes to about an 8. If it's dull, it can be around a 6. Sometimes it gets down to a 4. Can acupuncture help? I said, absolutely, I can work with you on that. However, I'm not going to tell you that it's going to be completely gone, nor am I going to tell you that you may not necessarily want it completely gone. You could use the pain. She's like, what do you mean use the pain? And that was a brand new concept to her, and maybe to you too. How do we use pain? Pain is a cue. So we worked with her for, 2 months. And she came to me, I said, tell me about your pain. She's like, if it spikes, it may spike to a 4 now. If it's dull, it may get to a 2. Sometimes I don't even notice it. I can go long periods of time with no problem. I can sit again with no problem. This is really working. I said, okay, let's do something with this pain now that it's more manageable pain. I mean, obviously at 8 or a 10, come on, let's be honest, that's really hard to do anything with because it's just so distracting and it's so hard on the psyche. Pain is actually harder on the psyche than it is on the body. We use it to break terrorists, for crying out loud, But pain, so I said, here's what we're going to do. Every time you feel the twinge or you feel the pain here, what I want you to do is I want you to stand up. I want you to put your shoulders back. I want you to breathe in through the stomach, through the heart, through the forehead, through the top of the head, and breathe up from the bottom of the feet. So air comes in even through the back and the sides. Air comes in through all parts of your body, right here into the lower belly. Just. And then exhale down to the bottom of your feet. Do it with me. Breathing is more for the mind than it is the body. Most people breathe only at the top part of their lungs, and they're getting by, they're not dead. True, deep, diaphragmatical breathing calms the mind, calms the body, relaxes it, oxygenates the tissue, takes the tension off the nervous system, allows the mind to relax. Deep breathing is more of a mental, cerebral respite than it is actually for oxygenating blood in a pulmonological function. Breathe with me. Feels good, doesn't it? The problem with most people is they say, wow, it feels great, but I never remember to. Right, you don't have a cue. That can be a ritual, but you have a cue. If you link it to pain, if you link that to being tired, if you link that to anxiety or depression, think of it. Every time you start to feel anxious, if you link that ritual to that cue, and that's not going to happen in a day or an hour or a week, maybe not even a month. The trick here is all rituals you've ever done are consistent rituals. Nobody starts smoking and become hooked for a cigarette. It's a ritual. People, I turned green, feel like crap, let's go do it again. Because they've made it a ritual. They went through the hard parts, they kept going. You need it. How many times do you need to do something to make it a ritual? Actually, it can be as little as 5 times. For it to become a habit, it's not the 21 days, like most myths believe. It depends on the complexity of your ritual. But if you can link that ritual constantly, even if it's just putting it in your phone and putting an alarm every 30 minutes or every day or whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is you find a way to put a cue. These are cues that are naturally in your life. Let's take hunger, okay? If you go and you're hungry and you say, okay, during this time, I notice I get hungry at these times. Or you have to start noticing your patterns, right? That's the first step to personal mastery. Recognize your patterns. And you start to say, okay, when I get hungry, I want to eat now. I don't have time to wait. You've gone too far. You're not noticing hunger earlier in the subtle stages. You're letting yourself get too far. You have to start noticing that there are cues, that there are more subtle cues that you're probably ignoring or just don't notice because you're so engrossed in something else. But hunger comes on. How many times do you need to eat today? Some people eat 3 times a day. Some people eat 5. Some people eat 1. You've got to know what works for you. I would suggest that you eat small meals several times a day. It helps with weight control, helps with weight loss. Most people, when they're gaining weight, they're not gaining weight because they eat too much. They're not eating often enough. And so the body stores and stores all this potential energy because you're going like a camel. You got a hump on your back because you're out in the desert, and who knows when you drink again. You have to eat often enough. But there are cues to these things, and there are rituals that will happen. You'll notice these things as you go along. But if you take that, and let's say you go, okay, when I eat, I'm going to turn off my phone, or I'm going to put on classical music, or whatever. And when I eat, I'm going to pay attention to my food. You know, people used to pray. It was a ritual. They prayed over their food. Why? Well, without sounding too metaphysically and getting, a woo-woo, when you pray over these things, we happen to know from Masamune Emoto's work with water, we happen to know that once you put something of yourself psychologically or emotionally into something, the body finds a resonance. The body finds a likeness, a like to like with the other. And so we put ourselves into that, and then when we ingest it, when we take it into ourselves, our body sees a bit of itself in it, and it becomes a like thing and easier to assimilate. Prayer has been shown that people who pray consistently over their food assimilate their food a lot better. Okay, obviously, don't get me wrong. What about if I have Crohn's? I get it. Okay, relax. But if you build in a particular ritual to your food where you eat mindfully, maybe your ritual is you make your food beautiful so it inspires you. Maybe you make your food in your time where this is my meditation. I don't have time to go sit and meditate. Maybe you don't need to sit and close your eyes and meditate with your shushu all erect. Maybe what you need to do is when you're eating, pay attention to what's going in your mouth. People, I bit my lip, I bit my... Where were you? How'd that get in the way? I guarantee you weren't thinking. You were 100 miles away. You probably have an internal conversation. You were trying to talk to yourself inside your head and eat at the same time. Bit yourself. It happens a lot. Look at your rituals. You already have them. Just small shifts in those rituals. When you drink, take a drink. And as you're drinking, breathe in as you're drinking, and then see the water infused with the energy as it comes down here into your stomach. 1, you'll have a lot more oxygenation. 2, you'll feel it going down. You're making a deeper connection to your body. 3, you have the overall affectation of doing something consciously. This is a conscious movement. This is a conscious mindfulness practice in your day. Stress goes down, all these other things go down. Right? Defecation. What if you took that practice and you said, okay, this is time for to get rid of all my turbidity, right? Literally. So take all that stuff, put it in my colon, and then as I sit there, turn off the phone, get off iPads, get off the Facebook, don't text people, just put it aside and relax your body and let go. This is the moment when you're designed to let go. Well, in this moment, let go. Let all of your anxiety, let all of your stress, right? A good bowel movement can be a religious movement for some people, okay? Use these moments of your life instead of trying to get done and get on. Then you're wondering why you have no time, because you don't take time to do anything. Using these triggers to bring mindfulness, mindfully let go. When you're bored, when you need to move your body, mindfully move your body. It can be as simple as I work in an office building sometimes. Every now and again, I'll say, oh no, you know what? Look at my heart rate. Okay, and I go down the stairs and back up the stairs. Something as simple as that. One day I did not realize it. I did 35 flights of stairs in a day. It took me minutes. It didn't take me very long. And the more I practice it, the better I get, the more I don't even think about it. But it gives me a sense of this is my time. The world does not own every minute of my day. Okay? So I want to give you a kind of a ritual that you can add into your life. And you can do it in any one of these things. You can do wherever you want. You simply plant your feet. You can put your hands on your abdomen and simply breathe in through all the parts of the body I explained earlier. You would be surprised how your life would magically change. Just this one practice. Simple as it is. Breathing in through all the epicenters of your body and breathing out through your feet with proper posture. Even if you just did a minute of it a couple times a day, you would notice a huge shift in your consciousness and your life. You would notice there's far more time to do the things you want. You're moving too fast. Slow down. You're just rushing to the grave. Don't rush to the grave. It's already there waiting for you. It's nice and just ready. You don't have to worry about death. It'll happen completely without your, help. Death isn't chasing you. It's at the end just going like, come on, relax, calm down. And see how often you can remember. Link it to cues in your day, whatever they are. Someone begins yelling at you, your boss comes in and he's yelling at you. You can't control his actions, but you can control your response. Your power of your life is in your response. Make this practice your response, and you realize you're not reacting anymore. You're responding. You have proactivity. You have personal power again. Okay? If you have any questions, you can always leave me a comment and ask. If you want to email me, it's lau@fourdragonschool.com. You can like or share this. Until then, we'll see you next time.